Our central task and the central theme was to have a look at what damage was done to civilian life in Gaza, to civilian infrastructure in Gaza, and what attacks were made on civilians.
Hey, welcome to the broadcast, everyone. We're taking your phone calls at 1-800-684-3110. That's 800-684-3110. That's Judge Goldstone. He was appointed by the UN's Human Rights Commission to conduct what has been called the Goldstone Report, which was a condemnation of Israel for the operations in Gaza in 2009. That operation, called Operation Cast Lead, was put in place for a very straightforward reason. Rockets continue to pour down on towns and villages in Israel coming out of Hamas-controlled Gaza. The UN wanted an investigation, and as is typical with the UN, the anti-Israel bias was huge. Professor Goldstone, Judge Goldstone, filed a report with the United Nations. Now, our American Center for Law and Justice and our European Center for Law and Justice formally opposed that actual report at the United Nations. In fact, it was the basis upon which we went into the International Criminal Court in The Hague, arguing that the report was biased and that these allegations of Israel against Israel were not true. That case that we just argued last year is still pending at the International Criminal Court. But what the big development has been over the last several weeks is that Judge Goldstone issued a report in the Washington Post saying, reconsidering the Goldstone report, and if he knew now what he knew then, it would not have been the same report. Although, interestingly here, folks, the UN refuses to retract the report, even though its primary author says, hey, if I knew now what I knew then, it would not have been the report I would have issued, and the condemnation against Israel would have stopped. But again, how important is it to you that we stand with Israel, that you stand with Israel, and that the United States stand with Israel?